All right, the Detroit Lions got a much-needed victory yesterday over the Minnesota Vikings, and it was a big deal. There's no doubt about it. It was a big deal. You're talking about a difference between first place in the NFC North and last place in the NFC North. With a loss yesterday, the Detroit Lions would have dropped to last place. Well, it depends on what the Bears' division record would have been at that time. So third place, last place. You're talking about a one game would have been catastrophic this early in the season. Now the Detroit Lions get the win. We don't have to worry about that now. Now we're hearing that the week 18 could be for the 1 seed. Now, I will remind Vikings fans that the last time they started 5-0, they also finished 8-8. So this could be the beginning of the end for the Minnesota Vikings. Every team that has played the Detroit Lions the week after or the game after, the Dallas Cowboys could be the game after. They were off, but the week after, the game after, they have lost. The Minnesota Vikings are going to be coming off a short week. They play on Thursday Night Football, so I will be watching that game. But the Detroit Lions played extremely tough football, the football we know that they can play. We went over these stats yesterday in the post-game show, but we'll go over them here for you guys as well. This was a very even game through and through. This is two heavyweights duking it out. The Detroit Lions were able to overcome the adversity of David Montgomery's fumble and Dan Campbell's fourth down fake punt early in the game. David was at the end. And for a minute there, you're like, man, the Detroit Lions might lose this game. But you knew if they got the ball back, they probably could score and would at least get Jake Bates in field goal range. And we'll be talking about him a little later. First downs, it was Detroit had 19 to the Minnesota Vikings 16. That was passing first downs. They had 15 to 10. You'll see as we go through this how even that this is. Rushing first downs. Neither team, we were running, but we weren't really running, if you get what I'm saying. Rushing first downs, 3 for us, 4 for them. First down from penalties, 1 to 2. Third down efficiency. I would like to see this number up for the Detroit Lions. But, 40% is still decent. They did 40% as well. Our fourth down attempt was the fake punt. And that's the one the Minnesota Vikings didn't do one at all. Total plays, look at this, 56 to 52. This was essentially that last drive that got us into field goal range. Total yards, 391 to 383 for the Minnesota Vikings. Total drives, 11. This is the average of NFL drives, 10 to 11. Yards per play, 7 for us, 7.4 for them. Passing, 247 to 244. They just even across the board. Completions, Jared Goff only missed 3 passes. He started off 15 for 15. It wasn't until the deflection at the line of scrimmage that he threw his first incompletion. I think if that doesn't happen, he ties and breaks the record of 18, which he did during the Seattle Seahawks game. Sam Darnold, 22 for 27. Yards per pass, 8.5 to 8.7. Interceptions thrown. Of course, Brian Branch, beautiful shot that the Detroit Lions photo crew captured of him reaching up and snagging that thing out the air. The dude was almost horizontal when he picked it off. Sacks, both teams got 4 sacks. The Detroit Lions took much more yards lost than the Minnesota Vikings, but we got to the quarterback 4 times. Rushing, 144 yards to 139. Now, the Detroit Lions still did not allow a 100-yard rusher. Aaron Jones had 93 yards. He was 7 yards away. If I'm Kevin O'Connell, I would have tried to feed him so we can break that, but that's just me. Rushing attempts, 27 to 21. Yards per rush, 5.3 to 6.6. Red zone. This is how you win games. Just think about it. We went 1 for 1. The Minnesota Vikings were never in the red zone, and they still got 29 points. But imagine if that says 0-1, we lose this game. Penalties, 8 on both teams. Time of possession, split right down the middle. You cannot get more evenly matched than these two teams were in this game. But the Detroit Lions was able to be victorious. And go up in the NFC North. This was a big game. And yes, we were able to overcome Dan Campbell's play call at the beginning of the game, which I do not like. Even if it would have worked, you would have been like, Coach, what are you doing? What are you doing? It was too risky. I mean, there's so much on the line, but that's who Dan Campbell is. David Montgomery's fumble was a big deal. And I assure you that nobody feels worse than he does. I wonder if that's why he wasn't on camera yesterday. Like, we didn't see him at all. And, I mean, he got hurt early. He came back in, wasn't really himself, but still was putting in work, fumbled near the end of the game. That literally turned the game. That fumble was picked up because I'm thinking this. It was 23. What was it? It was 20. Lions were up 28-23. And I'm saying, okay, wear this clock out, get into field goal range, put it on Jake Bates, let him go up. We'll go up 8, force them to score and get a 2-point conversion to tie this thing up. Fumbles, scoop, score, and it was a big deal. But the Lions were able to get a stop down the line and get the victory. So it's a big deal, man, for the Lions. Move to 5-1, very evenly matched. I can see these teams matching up, but we'll see how Minnesota does down the stretch. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below.